Hello.
Hola.
What's happening? I'm working on it right now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Midday Motivation. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being on.
It's okay.
We are your convivial hosts.
Your what?
Convivial.
What is that?
Friendly.
That's what Crystal's thing means.
Okay.
She has Crystal's what is it?
Convivial.
Convivial community.
There you go.
Norwich community. Hey, we're not matching anymore.
No.
You didn't want to be like me anymore?
No, my clothes stunk.
Good thing you changed your clothes.
We had on the same. We had church merch on this morning. We went to the park.
Wrap them out.
And I was playing basketball and running and sweating and
Thank
whatnot.
you.
So I had, So good morning if you're here. Go ahead and say good morning.
Was not convivial.
You done?
No, I didn't smell you.
Sure you didn't.
I
That's what you
didn't.
say.
Where are the people?
You keep moving. You keep going just like this. Out of the camera. I'm like,
I'm not out of the camera. Clearly, I'm right there in the camera. Clearly. I can see me. You can see me?
we matching kind of sort of. We both got on gray.
Yeah.
I have on gray and red. You have on gray and almost red. Bright red. Welcome to today's Midday Motivation. If you're determined to have a productive day, go ahead and put a boom into the comment feed. There's JoJo with something green in his hand. His tin whistle holder. Please don't blow it.
Did you wash your hands?
Please.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you. Just imagine 20 kids just doing that.
It's the worst 6 weeks
Good morning,
of
everybody.
my classical conversations.
Good morning, Pastor.
Can you stop reading somebody's thing?
Boom.
Boom.
Fireburst emoji. That's what Siri said.
That's actually not an emoji.
Okay.
Just telling you.
Okay.
Hey! I was getting ready to text you when we got done.
What's happening? All right. So we are in the book of Esther. I guess those who are on are on. We're in the book of Esther today. We have arrived in chapter. Oh, let me close that. I don't know why I felt like I needed to see the whole screen. No, it's not.
Why are we whispering like they still can't hear us?
We're in the book of Esther. We've arrived at chapter numero 5.
Capítulo.
What?
Capítulo. That's how you say chapter.
Capítulo
6. Siete.
We're in chapter 7. For all of those that like to speak English. Sorry, my bad. I'm not going on a rant. I'm just going to say
Please
this.
don't. Why are you going to say it? I don't even know what it is, but if it's rantable, then you might not need to.
We just got to pray for our justice system.
Yes, we do.
Because what happened with Breonna Taylor's death is a travesty.
It is. I am praying for the hearts.
Just leave it right there.
The hearts and the minds and even our spirits of African American, of Black believers.
Thanks for sharing. Share this, everybody.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all share this too.
I'm praying for African American believers. And why do I make that distinction? Because in these moments, our heart and everything in us, as much as we love God and want to serve God, our hearts are hurting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and to have to live it every day for the believer is
challenging.
It is beyond challenging. I don't know that there's another word. It's challenging. For the unbeliever, it wouldn't really make a difference because your actions, you could just be like, oh, justice for Brianna, and go act any old kind of way. But we walk the fine line as believers in our protest. We walk the fine line of
in how we
protest. But I'm saying in our protest.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to make sure they knew you meant the how and not the fact that you are protesting.
Right. No, there is a protest for the believer, and I'm not talking about just prayer and fasting. There is an action. There is a movement.
There's a physical action.
There is. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, to be able to walk that line and to still have in the front of your mind, I want to please God.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole. I think that should be a crucial conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should talk about that. I think we should. That's the time to minister to.
Let's do it next week.
Believers. Yeah. Okay.
Crucial conversation coming next week. Be angry. Yeah, do not.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like, this is angry. This is turn over table like Jesus angry. Mm-hmm. This is go up in there and wreck shop angry. But if Jesus could go into a place and wreck shop like he did, and that not be considered sin, I don't know that there's a way that as believers we can go in, wreck shop like that, and it not be sin, because our motivation, although our motivation is justice, it's still rooted in the anger.
Yeah, it's the heart. It's the heart of what we're doing. It's called righteous indignation. It's when it's just.
Right. It is. It's time to be angry. This is the time to be angry. Absolutely.
So we're gonna do a crucial conversation next week. We might bring somebody on.
Sure.
So we'll see.
I forgot why I picked this.
I have no idea why you picked it. So,
then I had to tell you don't go on a rant. And
I didn't go on a rant.
I ranted. I apologize.
She ranted. The rant was. Yeah.
Come on, let me just tell y'all, commercial break. If you are looking,
you sound like Benita Betrell.
What did I say? If you are looking,
okay, let me just tell you
to thicken up your hair.
I love Miss Jenkins.
Jamaican black castor oil, or even what's the other castor oil I got?
I don't know.
Haitian black castor oil. It had your hair all thickened.
Welcome to the Midday Motivation, where we just talk about everything. You know, that's how I just roll sometimes. We need a podcast or a radio show.
There we go. From the Book of Esther. Miss Doris is going to type in there in a minute. She's going to type, all right, Esther.
Stay focused, Miss Dina.
Doris will be like,
oh, boy.
Esther.
And not on Esther either. You old bug-eyed child fool.
All right, we coming back on Doris. Here we go.
Okay, see, y'all talking hair stuff. Oh, that's my phone. I'm like, why is the phone right here? Okay, the book of
let
Esther.
Let me lean back.
No, stay there, right there. The book of Esther. The book of Esther, chapter 6. Haman has come to the banquet. Haman has come to the second banquet, and the second banquet he's went to the first banquet. I'm sorry, and the king couldn't sleep after the banquet, and he says, somebody go get me the Chronicles and read me the Chronicles. This is where we see God is at work in the fact that, and if you just joined us, make sure you watch the replay. We kind of let y'all know some things we're going to do next week. He says, read me the Chronicles, and the part that they read to him is where Mordecai stopped the assassination attempt on the life of King Ahasuerus. You can still see him, can't you? Even though they try to get on the floor, you can still see him.
Just
and
walk
they orange do-rag. Just get up there. That's like, trying to put candy in your mouth. Like,
Or when you be in church trying to tell the people to be quiet. Shh, be quiet.
You're like,
you louder than them.
Right? Sorry.
Right. That was for the
And so Mordecai saved the king's life. And the king says, well, what's ever been done for him? And the guy reading the Chronicles like, nothing. He's like, well, we got to do something for him. Who's out there? Haman's out there. Go get Haman. Tell him to come in here. Haman, what do you think should be done to somebody who saved the life of the king, who the king wants to honor? And Haman's like,
he must be talking about me.
This is my chance right now.
Go down.
You ought to give him your robes, put him on your horse, parade him around town, let everybody pay homage to him. That's a great idea. Go get Mordecai the Jew, give him my robe, put him on the horse, and you take them all around.
That is the funniest part of the book.
It's like, what'd you say, dog? You want me to do what?
What you talking about, Willie?
And so he has to parade and lead Mordecai around on horseback and tell everybody else, pay homage to this guy. He's the best. The
Commercial
king really
break.
likes this guy.
That's part of what it looks like when the Lord make your enemies your footstool. That's an example right there.
Or your horse-drawn carriage. So Haman is a hater. Haman is upset. He takes Mordecai back, but then Haman goes home mad, and he tells his wife and his friends what happened, and they like, if Mordecai is really a Jew whom you said, you done, bruh. Off with your head. You're done. All right. And so here we pick it up, chapter 6, verse 14, and we'll pick it up. We're going in chapter 7. And while they were still talking with him, the king's eunuch came and hastened to bring Haman to the banquet, which Esther had prepared. All right. So now we're going to day 2, banquet number 2, chapter 7 of the book of Esther.
Now, by any chance, did you touch on that second to last verse where the same people who gave him counsel and was like, go ahead, build the gallows.
Your boys.
Yeah, your boy
your
and
boys
your
and your wife.
Build the gallows. Let Mordecai be home. Now they like,
Oh, we have a special guest. Mom is here.
Mom, you were supposed to say hello.
She was supposed to say hello.
Come on in and say hello to the people.
Come on in, right in the middle.
Come on in and say hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Audrey Howe.
Good morning, everyone, and make it an awesome day.
There it is.
Oh, look at her giving words.
She's the midday motivator.
Yeah.
So let's pick up chapter 7. So the king and Haman, chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman went to dine with Queen Esther. Doesn't it just sound so story and picturesque? Just
Went to dine.
they went to dine.
Queen Esther.
Now it's really fitting to go down. And on the second day, at the banquet of wine, the king again said to Esther, what is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted to you. And what is your request? Up to half the kingdom, it shall be done. This is the third time she hears the king says this to her. And now she's going in. Then Queen Esther answered and said, if I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king. Notice how she always starts with respect. Always starts with respect. Always starts with honor. All right.
Always starts with the reiteration of what he has already said. Come on, your prayer life.
Let me mind you what you said. Let me mind. That's praying the word of God, right? That's when you say, Lord, I know you're Jehovah Jireh. You're Jehovah Rapha. So I'm praying for healing because you are the healer. And then right on down the line. If I found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given. Let my life be given me at my petition. In other words, I'm saying to you with all I've got, and I'm putting all I have into this petition. Then she says, and my people at my request. So what I'm about to say is not only for me, but it's for all of my people. Okay. Let me say this. I wanted to say this the other day, and it just escaped me till this morning. Mordecai told her, maybe you're here for such a time as this. And she didn't want to say anything at first, but then he lets her know, no, this is for you. Every time something happens, you don't have to lend your voice to everything. You don't always have to say something, but at the right moment, the Lord is going to open the door. He's going to put it in your heart to go forward and say what needs to be said. Thus, Esther says, right, y'all fast, I'm going to fast, we're going to pray, and then I'm going to go. And if I perish, I perish.
Consider your assignment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For we, verse 4, for we have been sold, talking about my people and I, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. Had we been sold as male and female slaves, I would have held my tongue. In other words, if we were slaves, I wouldn't say this right now.
Right.
Because if we're somebody's servant, we have a right to be sold or whatever and all that because we're their slave. If we had been male and female slaves, I would have held my tongue, although the enemy could never compensate for the king's loss. Okay. So King Ahasuerus answered and said to Queen Esther, who is he? And where is he? Who would dare presume in his heart to do such a thing? Can you imagine Haman's thoughts at this very second? I believe that there's a split second between verse 5 and verse 6. Verse 4, 5, and 6. It's just Esther saying it, the king saying it, and awkward pause. And Esther said the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Haman was terrified before the king and queen.
Prophetess.
Hey, what's going on? Haman is scared out of his mind.
Absolutely.
Watch this. He has gone from being the invited to the indicted.
Oh, look at you.
That was just now.
Look
That
at
wasn't
you.
even planned.
Come on,
Thank you, Holy
God.
Ghost. He has gone from being, that's a good sermon right there. From being invited, he was excited about the invitation. He's the only one that got it. He's the only one that's there. Oh, y'all look, the king and the queen invited me to the, it's a 2-day banquet, y'all.
He was invited,
Mm-hmm.
excited, indicted, and you need one more.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
There you go.
So he's now been indicted in his face. And there are only 3 people in the room outside of the king's servants that are not allowed to be right there, but they're on the outskirts ready for the king's call for him to do something, for them to bring whatever, or Queen Esther to tell him to bring whatever it is. And so she tells him, we're supposed to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. And this is an issue because we're not slaves. And, this has been said. It's been written. This is what's supposed to happen. And the king is like, who did that? Who said that? Now, what's the irony of it is the king gave his ring to Haman so he could put it in the law. But the king didn't.
Touch on that.
Mm-hmm, but the king doesn't even
doesn't
recall to his mind like, yo, I gave this guy authority to do this. So here we go. So Haman was terrified before the king and queen. Verse 7. Then the king arose in his wrath from the banquet of wine. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because what's the show? The Wives.
Real Housewives.
Real Housewives. And I'll never forget this one episode.
Don't tell them what you're gonna say.
And the lady was sitting at the table and she was sitting at the table at some dinner and she flipped the table.
That's Real Housewives in New Jersey. That was Teresa.
And I had just walked in the bedroom and all I see is this lady moving the table and she and gets up and storms out of the room. That's what the king does. That's what the king. No, I do not sit down and watch. Ooh, let me see what they gonna do today. It says the king arose in his wrath from the banquet of wine and went into the palace garden. But Haman stood before Queen Esther pleading for his life, for he saw that evil was determined against him by the king. So the king gets up in rage and wrath and goes out to the garden. Now it's revealed what he goes out there to do. Haman's still inside like, yo, Esther, like, come on, help a brother out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
When the king returns, verse 8, from the palace garden to the place of the banquet of wine, Haman had fallen across the couch where Esther was. Let me stop right here and give you some Jewish folklore. some Jewish folklore of this says it's just folklore. It's not even tradition. It's just folklore. Says that Gabriel was there, and when Ahasuerus walks in the room, and Gabriel pushes Haman onto the couch, so that he's falling on the couch as the king is walking in. That's just folklore. There's no Bible for that or anything. Haman had fallen across the couch where Esther was. Then the king said, "Will he also assault the queen while I am in the house?" So this is the icing on the cake, if you will, because he already wants to destroy the Jews. And at this moment, Ahasuerus doesn't know that Esther is a Jew per se. She's like my people, which the king could grab because he doesn't know it until later. But he could grab like I'm from the common people, Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's why we have to be careful because our emotions will have us see stuff that's not really taking place. And which is why we got to be real careful when we are in our feelings, not to assume things. Because in that moment, the king was already hot. Haman is pleading for his life, but the king walks in and filters every move after that through his wrath.
Yeah.
And so he sees Haman, who already finna die. Now he's even more angry because he's filtered what he saw through his wrath.
Right.
So people of God, we got to check our emotions. If they're not moving us closer to God, we need to check them. If you're filtering everything you go through your emotions and it's not being led by God, you are probably doing the wrong thing. Check yourself. Emotions are good. They're supposed to move you to God. But when they move you another way, just be mindful of that. Your emotions help you see what you want to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is, he says, as the words left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face, meaning that those individuals that he got from the garden, like,
he's finna die.
You know what I mean?
It's going down.
So
it's going down.
Now Harbona, one of the eunuchs, said to the king, "Look, the gallows, 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on the king's behalf, is standing at the house of Haman." Then the king said, "Hang him on it." Just like that. So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
You better be careful who you set a trap for.
Then the king's
You better
wrath
be careful.
subsided.
You better be careful who you set a trap for. Honey, I declare to you every false trap that the enemy has set to kill you, he gonna hang himself on it in Jesus' name.
Man.
Every single false trap in Jesus'
What's
name.
the phrase people say? Those who have glass houses shouldn't throw stones and all of that. You set the trap for him. It's really a trap for you.
It's for you.
It's a trap for you. You go just straight up like that. Like they didn't even say, "What do you want us to do with him?" The Harbona just is like, "Oh, hey, them gallows over there at his house."
But I believe Harbona was on it because look, he said, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on your behalf.
Remember
that.
You know
who Mordecai is.
Mordecai. You know that's your dog. Well, you know. Don't even trip. You know Mordecai. You know what? Hang him on it. He is hanged on the gallows at his own home. But who's at the house? Zeresh and his friends are still there. How you know, Pastor? Because you're going to see it in chapter 8. That's chapter 7 of the book of Esther. Yes, sir. That's right, Sister Kathleen. Yes, sir. Woo. Yes, sir.
Stop it.
I love it. All right. That's chapter 7. We got a few more chapters to go through. It is the Lord's, it's the Lord's doing, man. Remember, it is simply the scripture says, whatever man sows, that shall he also reap. So that same anger and vengeance and all of that hatred for Mordecai that he had, it was wrought on him. All right. So there's still work to be done, even though Haman has been killed, or even Haman has been put to death. I didn't say killed; he's been put to death. That's the king gave the order. There is still work to be done because the edict is still written, and so we'll come back to that.
There's more.
We'll come back to that on Monday. All right. Thanks for joining us for today's Midday Motivation. We'll be back Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Midday Motivation, if all is well. Don't forget to join us this afternoon on these same social media outlets at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for
Fellowship Fun Fridays.
Say what?
Fellowship Fun Fridays.
Say what?
All right, that's enough. Fellowship Fun Fridays with the Freemans.
With who?
With the Freemans.
It's funny because she always does that. All right, everybody. Don't forget, worship is on Sunday. Just in case you can't join us this afternoon, worship on Sunday. Doors open at 7:30 for the 8 o'clock service. Doors open at 10:30 for the 11 o'clock service, and 1:30 on Zoom for Sunday school. Everybody is welcome to be a part and attend. We'll be on these outlets as well. But we would love to see your face in the place with your mask on as you love your neighbor.
With your mask on.
All right. Thank you, guys. Remember
With
this.
your armor. Does the armor now include mask?
No. It's the helmet of salvation.
The helmet is on. Come on. All right, folks.
We love y'all.
And you can't do a thing about it.
All right. Grace and peace. Bye-bye.